So the first tune, Build Your Church, I'm sure you guys have heard that song, even if you haven't played it. And the original key is an A, but I believe they've done it in A flat. At least they did it one time last year, and then this year I guess they do it in A. I don't know if that ever trips you guys up, by the way. Just having to add a flat to a key. Because I mean, you could technically just capo, right? But then you'd be capoing fourth fret and playing in the key of E. So it's always funny. It's like, you know, changing the position of where you play something to complement a flat or a sharp key. It could either be super easy or like super confusing, right? So always be aware that if that does happen, in the slight chance, like I would say, if you could pick in every song you learn, at least in church, if you had a secondary position, I'll say, a secondary way of playing it, if it wasn't a key that, let's say, you couldn't play it with a F string root note, you had to go to a six string root note or vice versa, right? And then get comfortable with the idea that if this does happen, where's my capo going to be, and or where my chord shape's going to be. I know it sounds kind of redundant in a way, because you're like, well, if I don't know, what am I going to do? And but just keeping that in the back of your head. But let me go over here. So because this song is driven by piano, I was in an airport while I was writing out this chart, and so I obviously didn't have a guitar. And I just remember like thinking, man, if this was on a guitar, this would be so much easier right now. Because sometimes it's hard to translate, right? It's hard to like hear one thing and then especially if there's no bass, because there's no real bass until probably like the first chorus. So something I struggle with, you might struggle with too. Don't feel like you're you're doing anything wrong, or you're struggling with something that not everyone else struggles with. So, but let me look at some of the points I had. Okay, lots of guitar and melody lines. Yep, I didn't realize that after listening to it the first few times. And I've actually never. I don't think I've played this song. I'm honestly might have played it one time, just because I vaguely remember Chris Garcia, our drummer, right? Hit him up on Instagram or see him on Instagram. He's super. He's got a good following, but he was doing that whole stand up hitting the cymbals thing. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that, but that's a new trend for drummers. All you drummers out there, they do this thing where they just stand up and they just hit the cymbals on the quarter note, or sorry, on the quarter notes. Yeah, quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and it's just like, it doesn't drive me crazy, but it's their way of building it in a different way. So it's like a build, yet it's not a build. So kind of frustrating, but oh well. The only other real thing I pointed out was, I had it right here, vocal at the end. There's the little vocal line. Whoa, oh, oh, they do that. Once again, I like to talk about missed opportunities, right? And as a guitar player, if I was looking at that song or hearing that song, I'd actually learn that part and I know it kind of emulates what the piano does, but it's not exactly the same. So if you feel led, or if you feel drawn to certain types of elements of a song that you can then possibly incorporate in like your atmospheric stuff or whatever, yeah, so if that vocal line speaks to you, once again, if you learn anything that could ignite a song, or even ignite a aspect of a song that you're drawn to, or they're already doing in your worship, and if you play that little line, everyone's going to catch it, everyone's going to be drawn to it, and it could actually help lead the congregation. Definitely learn those parts, simply because You might not think it, but when you do that, it is a great way for everybody to progress in the worship, to create a different atmosphere, and really just encounter God in a different way. And I'm excited for when our team gets to do that. Oh, before I forget, let me see if I can put the camera back on. Before I forget, long story short, I wonder if I do this. Long story short is next week we have a we have what we usually have for the youth, right? So the youth has this service that we uh, that we come together once a month and we play songs, and it's more so for the youth kids to get better at the songs that they do. But what's funny is I want to also use that time for us in our mentorship program and our and for everyone obviously who's involved to further their playing, but in real life. So I am going to have the opportunity, if you guys are in town by the church, or even if you don't come for the full 6:30 to 8:30, we can use the kids room, we can play tracks, we can run over parts, we can just jam. I told Danny that I want to leave that as an option for you guys to just help further progress you guys and really focus in on what you guys need. Or if you just want to jam and play through a couple of the songs, that works too. So if you notice, for next week, we've got like the 15 plus songs, or no, it's 20. I think it's 20 because of all the different keys that we have. So there's 20 songs that you can choose from. We could play the whole song, one part, just guitars, rhythm section stuff, work on actual rhythm guitar, whatever. So before I forgot to say that, I wanted to let you guys know. And then what's also crazy is the week after that, we're doing the Pursuit Night. And do you guys usually go to Pursuit Nights or no?
I haven't in
Somewhat.
a while.
You say again?
It's been a while, but
It's been a
I've
while.
been to
Yeah.
them, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I think I went last year.
You know what, Scott? Last time I went, you were playing. Yeah.
Damn.
Funny thing, it's been a while. So
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. There you go. Yeah. So there is a chance that instead of maybe doing this, maybe we could all go, kind of thing. I don't know if that's an easier thing for everybody or not, if that's more problematic. But it would be an opportunity for us to reflect. We don't have to do it every time, obviously. But I would just do it if you guys felt like you wanted to, and that way we could talk about different aspects of the worship experience, see like how they did things, how did they start, how did they transition, what songs did they do, just go down the list. What instrumentation did they have? How did that incorporate, or how did they incorporate everything together, and all that stuff. So, but I'll put a pin in that now. That way we can continue moving on.